Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now there is a brand new signal flashing that has previously meant we're due to see some more bullish price action over the next 1 month approximately. And on top of that, we have other signals flashing for both Bitcoin and Ethereum, which I'll talk more about later in this video, so definitely stick around. Just starting off on the 3-day Bitcoin chart, and as you can see in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD, this is currently encountering a bullish cross. And now it's important to mention that at the time of recording this video, this bullish cross in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD hasn't been confirmed just yet, because for this to actually confirm, we need to see a 3-day candle close, and the next 3-day candle close is in a little over 2 days from now. And obviously when we see that candle close, we need this to be in the green, talking about the histogram within the MACD indicator, which means we would have seen that bullish cross, and once again after the candle actually closes on the 3-day chart, that cements the cross in place. And if you simply take a look at the last few times where we've seen a bullish cross in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD, this has been a very accurate signal at predicting more bullish price action over the next 1 month approximately. And obviously you can see that in a larger bullish trend on the 3-day Bitcoin chart, these bullish signals are more explosive in the price action. Compared to a larger bearish trend in the 3-day Bitcoin chart, this bullish signal still played out with some more bullish price action in the short term, but it wasn't exactly the same explosive bullish price action to what we saw in the second half of last year. Instead, what we saw in the first quarter of this year was the Bitcoin price slightly drift to the upside with some slight bullish price action, but once again, not explosive bullish price action. So considering the fact that right now, technically speaking, we are still within this larger bearish trend, this trend has not changed as of right now, then because of that, we could potentially see something similar to what we saw in the first quarter of this year, where basically the Bitcoin price could potentially drift to the upside for a little while longer, talking about the next 1 month or so, if we confirm that bullish cross in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD, which once again still has a little over 2 days to go until we see the next 3-day candle close to actually confirm that bullish cross in place. And now it is important to mention that this is just one indicator out of many different factors that might influence the Bitcoin price. And as I've been mentioning in my recent videos over the past couple of days, another important factor that could heavily influence the Bitcoin price would be the inflation data, the CPI data that we get next Wednesday. And if you want more information about all of that, check out my last video on the channel where I talked more about inflation and the Fed. And in that video, I also gave a longer term prediction for Bitcoin. But anyway, zooming into the daily Bitcoin chart, you can clearly see that at the time of recording this video, the Bitcoin price is still chopping around sideways in this sideways price range in between roughly 22,000 as our point of resistance and around 18 to 19,000 as an important level of support. And once again, if you've been on this channel over the past few weeks, you would have already known this choppy sideways price range would most likely to play out based on the uptrend that has formed in the daily Bitcoin RSI, because the last few times that's happened basically resulted in the same thing, just a lot of choppy sideways price action, or like what we saw in the first quarter of this year, it was mostly choppy sideways price action, but technically it was a slight uptrend with slightly higher lows and slightly higher highs. Now, when it comes to that CPI data that gets released next Wednesday, if that data shows inflation got a lot worse than expected, then we could play out a similar scenario like this, for example, where basically we finish up with the choppy sideways price range and potentially break support, starting another leg to the downside, because that is indeed what happened the last time we got bad inflation that was worse than expected. But on the flip side, if those inflation numbers meet expectations or ideally are underneath expectations, then that further opens up the possibility of playing out something like what we saw in the first quarter of this year. Once again, slight bullish price action, but still unlikely to see explosive bullish price action like what we saw last year. So for now, while we're waiting for more confirmation, trading within this sideways choppy price range has been extremely profitable, longing support and shorting resistance so far. And then after we remove some of that uncertainty around what those inflation numbers might be, that is when we could potentially confirm the next direction for Bitcoin. So right now it's really unconfirmed in terms of the next significant direction for Bitcoin on the daily Bitcoin chart. And staying on the daily Bitcoin chart, but taking a look at the Bollinger Band indicator, this is still suggesting a volatile move coming sometime soon, potentially within the next 1 week. Because usually when we begin this squeeze phase in the Bollinger Bands, it means we're about to see an extremely volatile move sometime soon, usually within 1 to 2 weeks from when we begin that squeeze phase. And the Bollinger Bollinger Bands have already been squeezing for nearly a week now. So this is also lining up really well with everything else that's going on, because not only do we have new CPI data getting released next Wednesday, but also later this month, there's another Fed meeting where we're expected to see another rate hike, and normally that brings around volatility. And now zooming into the 12-hour Bitcoin chart, and technically we're still within this ascending triangle pattern with that horizontal line of resistance coming in just underneath 22,000. And as I said yesterday, we need to at least see a daily candle close above this level in order to actually confirm a breakout to the upside. But to be even more confident in a potential move to the upside, I'll be looking for some other confirmations as well, such as a potential retest flipping that previous resistance into new support, or a surge in volume as we're breaking through resistance. But in the meantime, while the Bitcoin price has yet to actually confirm a break above this point of resistance, there is still risk of a rejection, potentially to revisit this upward trending line of support, which is sitting at around 19,500. So those are the main levels that I'm watching out for Bitcoin in the short term. And in case you're wondering, if we break back below 19,500, then we do have some major support at pretty much exactly 19,000 and also down towards 17,500. And now zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, we're starting to see a little bit more of a downtrend potentially forming in the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI, and we have already confirmed a bearish cross in the 4-hour Bitcoin MACD. And technically speaking, both of these signals in these short-term Bitcoin price oscillators are technically bearish signals for Bitcoin in the short term. So at the moment, in the immediate short term, we're seeing reduced bullish momentum in terms of this short-term 4-hour Bitcoin uptrend. And if these price oscillators continue further to the downside, that further increases the chances of the Bitcoin price potentially getting a further rejection and basically starting a short-term downtrend like what we saw back here a few weeks ago. But remember, this is all talking about the short-term Bitcoin movements just on the 4-hour Bitcoin charts. So obviously, when talking about bullish and bearish trends on this time frame, this is not talking about the larger trends on the 3-day chart, for example. And speaking of the 3-day chart, taking a look at the 3-day Ethereum chart, and right now we've actually already confirmed with one 3-day candle close a bullish cross in the 3-day Ethereum MACD. Now it's worth mentioning that yes, even though we did technically see that bullish cross in the 3-day Ethereum MACD, if you're actually looking at the histogram within the MACD indicator for the previous 3-day candle, even though yes, it did flip into the green, it was only just above that zero line, so only just into the green. So if we can see that second 3-day candle close, which once again is in around 2 days from now, then that could potentially provide even more confirmation in this signal that has technically already confirmed with one 3-day candle close. But remember, this signal still hasn't yet confirmed for Bitcoin, so we still need to wait for another 2 days in order to actually confirm this signal for Bitcoin and to add even more confirmation for this signal for Ethereum. And as you can see back here on the chart, the previous bullish crosses in the 3-day Ethereum MACD have resulted in more bullish price action over the next 1 month approximately, which is very similar to the bullish crosses that we've seen in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD. But like I said earlier in the video, during a larger bullish trend, the bullish signals are more explosive when it plays out compared to a larger bearish trend on the 3-day Bitcoin chart. Yes, the bullish signal still played out back here in the first quarter of this year, but the outcome wasn't as explosive as what we saw in the second half of last year, for example. So moving forward, if we do end up seeing that extra confirmation in around 2 days from now with that next 3-day candle close, and also if we get some good inflation numbers on Wednesday, so basically if inflation meets expectations or ideally comes in under expectations, then in that case, one of the most likely scenarios moving forward, especially over the next 1 month or so, would most likely be some slight bullish price action, not exactly explosive bullish price action once again, but potentially something like what we saw in the first quarter of this year. But once again, something that could rug pull us from that potential bullish scenario would be if we get inflation worse than expected on Wednesday. But with that being said, zooming into the daily Ethereum chart, taking a look at the Bollinger Bands indicator, which is still currently in that squeeze formation as we've seen for nearly 1 week now. And this means pretty much the exact same thing as what I said on the Bitcoin daily chart when talking about the Bollinger Bands. Once again, it means we're very likely about to see a lot more volatility, some sort of major volatile move in the markets, potentially within the next 1 week or so, but extremely likely sometime this month will play out another volatile move, talking about a move like this or like this, for example. And now zooming into the 12-hour Ethereum chart, and as you can see, we still have that ascending triangle pattern where where we have this line of resistance sitting at around 1270 to 1280, and our upward trending line of support is sitting at around 1120 approximately. And obviously at the time of recording this video, the price of Ethereum hasn't yet confirmed a break above this resistance or a break below this support. And once again, I'll be looking out for the same confirmations on this chart, talking about a potential daily candle close above resistance or below support, or ideally, in order to have more confidence in the next major move in the price of Ethereum, it would be great to see some sort of retest flipping previous resistance into new support. That would be extremely bullish market structure. And on the flip side, if we broke support, flipping previous support into new resistance, that would be very bearish market structure. So right now on the 12-hour Ethereum chart, this is just simply a waiting game at the moment, because we still need to see a confirmed break of one of these levels in order to be confident in the next significant move for the price of Ethereum. But if you zoom into the shorter term, taking a look at the 4-hour Ethereum chart, you can see recently we ran into that point of resistance sitting at around 1270 to 1280. And since then, we've seen a slight rejection from that line of resistance, as both the RSI and the MACD on the 4-hour Ethereum chart have given us some short-term bearish signals. And if these signals continue to grow in the bearish direction, meaning that if the histogram goes further and further into the red, or if the 4-hour Ethereum RSI, for example, continues this short-term downtrend like what we saw back here a few weeks ago, then that would give us more confirmation in a further move to the downside in the shorter term, potentially revisiting that upwards trending line of support sitting at just above 1.1k. But for now, if you're looking at the price action alone on the 4-hour Ethereum chart, this short-term uptrend in the 4-hour Ethereum price action hasn't actually broken just yet, because we're technically still forming higher highs and higher lows on this time frame. But if Ethereum breaks below this low sitting at around 1,190 approximately, then that could potentially bring more bearish price action over the next few days. Just like how back here we broke below this previous low, and the moment that happened, we saw some more bearish price action over the next few days, which was a perfect trade if you're watching that rising wedge pattern. And if you want to know how to execute trades like this, where you can actually make money whether the price is going down or up, or even if you want to know how to make money if the price is chopping around sideways, check out one of these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money whether the price is going up or down, and the video in the bottom left shows you how to make money in choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.